Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3. Yay! Oh, awesome. Okay, well, hi, CSECcon. Welcome to our talk, Intro to Capture the Flag, or CTF for short, if you didn't know. Well, my name is Max. Online, I usually go by Krem, and today I'll be going through the what and the why when it comes to CTFs. Day by day, my full-time job, I'm a senior technical specialist or penetration tester at Trustwave Spider Labs, and I also run a CTF yearly with an amazing group of people, which we call DownUnderCTF. Also, little side note, I used to be the president of this very great society that's running this event back in 2020, and it's great to see how much it's flourished since then. So a really big round of applause to the team.
Hi, I'm Francis. I go by the handle of Don Fran, and thank you so much, Max, for the flattering picture that you stole from my Discord. I'm currently a senior AppSec engineer at Big Commerce. Previously, I worked with Max at Trustwave as a penetration tester, and I happen to be an author at DownUnderCTF. I, unfortunately, am not part of this great society.
Okay, so first, few things out of the way. Let's get a disclaimer. So don't download a car, but the real important one is all the material presented in today's workshop should only be tested against networks or systems that you own or have proven permission to test against. It is illegal to perform these actions on networks that you do not own and can carry some serious penalties. Also, the views and opinions expressed in the workshop are those of us, the authors, and do not reflect the official policy or position or representation of our employees. So that's out the way. Good. So the big question is, why did we decide to give this talk today? Why are we here? Why are we doing public speaking? And very nerve-wracking. But it's all good. For me, I don't think I would be on this stage without CTFs. I don't think I would be a pen tester without CTFs. And I don't think I would even be in the cybersecurity industry without CTFs. So to put it bluntly, I owe them a lot. I do remember my very first ever CTF. It was banded over the wire. It was in Building 11 back in the CSEC old days. And it was a small networking room. And it was actually my very first CSEC event that my friend, Luke over there, yeah, he's in the crowd today, said it convinced me to come to. And I started playing, and I just have never stopped. It gave me the passion to really teach myself about cybersecurity and hacking in general. So, some old photos. This passion led me to be a part of UTS CSEC CTF team number 2, Hacks for Jobs, for the Cybersecurity Challenge Australia, or CSECcon for short, which was a national CTF, a university event where universities and TAFEs could compete against each other. And there was a 24-hour event, and we actually placed 24th, which we're quite happy with. We also got a cheeky first solve on one of the challenges. I think it was the PyCalc one, so we had lots of fun. But however, CSECcon sadly does not run anymore, and it finished in 2018, so we ran the last one. We played in the last one, so rest in peace to CSECcon. Also, the 404s now, you can't even get to the website. It's also taken me to KiwiCon in 2018. KiwiCon is a conference run in Wellington, New Zealand, and is now called KawaiiCon. But I ended up tying first in the badge hacking CTF comp, and it's really fun. It's like an in real life CTF, and that was really, really good. And I hope they run that again. I'll definitely come back for that. That was really good fun. In 2019, Hacks for Jobs and myself kept CTFing away online. We weren't that great, but we ended up coming 7th in the country according to CTF time, which we're really stoked about. And then 2020, with no CSECcon on the horizon, I decided to shift my focus away from playing CTFs and what about try making one instead. So I led a team of university students and others from 13 different university societies across Australia, and we came up with this event, DownUnderCTF. In our opinion, it was very successful, with 3,000 people registering to play in our CTF event in our first year. And then in 2021, we had over 4,000. And as of right now, currently, I think the CTF is 3.5K with about 36 hours to go. So we're on track to beating last year's as well, which is great. But enough reminiscing. Let's get into it. What is a CTF? And this is not the type of CTF I'm talking about. This is Capture the Flag from Halo 3, I think. I used to play this back in the day on my Xbox 360. This is really cool, but it's not the type of CTF we're talking about today. This is the type of CTF I'm talking about. Stuck in a conference hall with no windows, people clacking away on their keyboards, like basically solely surviving on energy drinks, for hours on end. It's like this. Nothing is cooler than this. So I would define a CTF as a cybersecurity event or competition where participants can simulate hacking techniques on intentionally vulnerable challenges. And yeah, that's basically a definition in my words. The aim of it is to break the challenge to get your flag. And think of a flag as basically a proof that you solved the challenge. And also, CTFs are a completely safe and legal way to practice your hacking skills. So if you want to run all the SQL maps or the dir buses you want, you can go ahead. But it's a lot better than sitting behind bars wearing a Guy Fawkes mask in a full suit and complimenting whether your hacks were lead enough or worth it. So what is this mysterious flag that I'm referring to? It isn't one of these lame flags that kind of blow in the wind and kind of hang high on a pole. This is the flag that I'm talking about. Yeah, it's a flag usually with this is an example. It usually has words, characters, or strings. And as I said earlier, it's just a proof that you solved the flag. And the best thing about flags, internet points. Can't spend them on anything. You can't even brag to your friends that you got to the front page of Reddit. But you got these internet points by solving a CTF challenge. So I'm proud of you. And you should be proud of yourself. So in the world of CTFs, there exists two types. There's Jeopardy and there's attack and defense. Jeopardy is the most popular kind and the only one that I'll cover in today's talk, but I'll give a brief description of what attack and defense is as well. So Jeopardy, if you've ever heard of the game show that runs in America, is inspired, so basically has a set of categories, and with each question, or challenge in our case, has a corresponding or an increasing point value depending on the difficulty of the challenge. Whereas attack and defense is usually played in a LAN network, so usually every computer is in the same network or usually the same physical place, and every team is given a pre-configured machine with vulnerable services, and not only do you have to patch the vulnerabilities and defend, you have to try attack other teams in the network to try get their flag. However, these are quite uncommon because it takes a lot of effort for not a lot of playtime. And so people usually go for Jeopardy CTFs. And I think they're more fun. So why CTF? We've covered what I'm guessing all of you, sorry, I'm guessing this is what all of you want to know. Why should you be playing CTFs right now? And this is where I'm going to be sounding like a clickbait YouTube video. But CTFs is like the perfect example of learning through playing. You are applying skills you are learning on the fly to solve challenges. And it's awesome. It's like gamifying in a way. And you get exposure to in real life challenges. While quite a few CTF challenges can definitely be considered unrealistic, I've played a few myself, but there's mostly the scenario and techniques that you use can be applied to like day-to-day what you do as a pen tester. Also, you get to identify what you might actually like in the world of like cybersecurity or like technical testing. In my case, I like web exploitation, and I can't stand crypto. So, but if you want crypto, you can go to next talk, Chris. But yeah, it's definitely not my thing. Sorry. So I know this is like shown in sorry for like light mode, but I know this is shown in like every cybersecurity talk, or something very similar, but it really illustrates the amount of cybersecurity streams there are. And so it's really good to get a lay of the land of what you actually like, because this field is so diverse. Okay, back to it. It teaches you how to be an excellent Googler, problem solver, and learning how to be adaptable under pressure, because you're basically in a competitive environment. It is also a great co-curricular or extracurricular activity to showcase your technical skills. You are working as part of a team in a competitive environment, and you can like slap these bad boys on your resume, and it looks amazing because you went, in your free time, went above and beyond to test yourself in a competition, and it looks great. And there's so many of these running, so you can just keep slapping on them. It'll be all good. So, CTF categories. Okay. I'll be going through the main types of CTF categories. It kind of coincides with what's running in DownUnderCTF at the moment, but we'll go through it step by step. Okay, cloud challenges. Cloud is a rather new CTF category to the CTF world, but it is very fun. It's all about exploiting the cloud environment, or environments that are native to the cloud. And these environments are usually misconfigured or somehow have some kind of code exploit. They usually focus on the cloud resource itself, rather than opposed to the application that's maybe running on them. So that can kind of be a bit of a rabbit hole for some new players. But sometimes there's no application running at all. Typically, you would be identifying the cloud provider that they're using, like Azure, GCP, AWS, or the cloud service, and then you can kind of figure out what your kind of scope is and what might be exploitable. And then you would use, make an exploit, or you would use the respective cloud command line tool to solve the challenge. Okay, so web exploitation. Before we get into this, I have to bring back this great InfoSec Twitter meme. This meme was actually created by a speaker here today, and I remember watching this talk live and on Twitter as well. But it is related to web exploitation, and the meme is by Alex. So enjoy. Hopefully the sound works.
These are actual crimes.
Okay. Thank you for the quick aside, and thank you so much, Alex, for bringing this into our lives. Okay, back to business. Web exploitation. So these are all about finding vulnerabilities in web applications. Pretty stock standard. You heard of some of these common, may have heard of some of these common web app vulnerabilities, like cross-site scripting, XSS, or SQL injection, SQLI. But this is extended to many different types of web exploitation techniques, and basically anything you can break a web application with. This is probably one of the easier CTF categories to sink your teeth into, because there's so much readily available information online, and it doesn't require a lot of extra knowledge or tooling to get into it. You obviously need a web browser. That's a good start. And I would also recommend a web intersection proxy, which would, and the go-to nowadays is Burp Suite. Okay. Forensics. Forensics is the only category that gives you the chance to be a detective. You're usually given a hypothetical scenario about bad people doing bad things, and you have to find out what bad things they did. Usually these bad things are hidden in like a needle in a haystack in megabytes or gigabytes of data. This can also extend to like file systems or disks on computers, but usually you'll be using tools to like parse or search through this data. Typically you'll be using like Splunk, or you can go for the old-fashioned grep, which is always good. Binary exploitation. Next, binary exploitation can be like also referred to as pwn. These challenges are quite tough, as they normally require quite a bit of knowledge or understanding of how computers work under the hood, but it refers to basically binaries, executables, or programs, basically whatever terminology you're comfortable with, that perform various functions or operations on a computer. These challenges are all about finding the vulnerabilities within the binaries, exploiting it locally first to achieve code execution, and then your aim is to get code execution on the remote machine. This usually requires some use of Python scripting, or with a library called pwn tools and a reverse engineering tool to find the bug in the binary. Reverse engineering, another tough CTF category, and it requires also some knowledge in the field, usually. Reverse engineering challenges are the process of grabbing a compiled or obfuscated code and figuring out what it does, make it readable to you. And tooling usually consists of a reverse engineering tool. The go-to at the moment seems to be Ghidra, which is a tool actually made by the NSA and has become a free and open source tool that they've released to the public. Okay, cryptography. This is the category for all the die-hard maths folk. As I mentioned earlier, I stay well clear of this category. So I asked one of the best crypto players and authors I know, Joseph, about it. He described crypto in CTFs usually falls into the following categories. It's breaking of custom cryptographic algorithms. Then you have finding and breaking flaws and implementations of real-world crypto algorithms. Finding, reading, and implementing a crypto paper to do the previously mentioned, or maths puzzles. For tooling, it can be quite programming heavy and usually utilizes stuff like Python, Sage Maths, or C++. Okay, but remember, you can't spell crypto without cry. OSINT, or Open Source Intelligence. This is a very fun CTF category. You are basically a creepy stalker or a world-class GeoGuessr player, or if you know what that is, or very proficient at Google Maps. It's all about gathering information that's publicly available. Basically, think of using Google or any other types of search engines. Then you use that gathered data to solve the challenges. This can range from very precise GPS coordinates to very specific information that you've pulled from this person's social media accounts. OSINT is a category is probably the most beginner-friendly, as it only requires you to be a good Googler. I have actually seen people do a CTF in the OSINT category with only using a phone. So you don't really need any tooling, only just Google away, and there you go. And blockchain. This is a newish category in the CTF world and in real life itself. I'm sure we've all heard of the blockchain buzzword. I haven't played this myself, and we've only so I asked a friend, Blue Alder, about it, and he said with blockchain you have contracts, and if there's a code implementing the contract, you can refer to it as a smart contract, and that's where there's code, there's the potential for bugs. So blockchain challenges are all about exploiting that piece of code that's implementing the smart contract. Okay, now, time to pray for the demigods. I will pass it off to Francis, and he'll give us some demos of some DUCTF 2021 challenges. No solutions for this year.
Okay. Thank you for that, Max.
Yeah.
Max will be on stage just to make sure I don't mess up. Cool. This is hard to play back to front. If nobody has ever played a CTF before, I'm covering some basic beginner challenges that could help you get into CTFs. This is what it looks like when you log into a CTF. Unfortunately, this is our dev environment, so I will not be signing up, as it does give away one of our codes. In the challenge itself, you're able to see the challenges, see the scoreboards.
It's only us.
Yeah, but it's only us, so no one solved any challenges yet. The prizes and users and teams, I'm pretty sure, are something I'm not supposed to click, according to Max. Yep. But let's start off with the challenges. So each challenge gets placed into its own category: MISC, web, OSINT, and forensics. So I'll start off with MISC. MISC is a category that is miscellaneous and it's random. So in miscellaneous, the challenge itself doesn't belong to any of the previous challenge that Max has mentioned, but more, it could be a combination of those challenges, or it could be something that's completely off. In this challenge, each challenge itself has the title, and then over here is a description. The author, this is something DownUnderCTF likes to do. If you don't like a challenge, feel free to message them. Krem loves his Discord being blown up. And then a way to connect to the challenge. This can be a command that you can run in your terminal, this can be a URL, or this can be a file downloaded. At the same time, I think some CTFs have the hardness of the challenge, but if it's not there, just pay attention to the points. The lower it is, the easier it normally is. DownUnderCTF, we're doing decaying points. It starts off at 500, and I think it drops down to 50. The more solves, try to play those challenges a bit more. So the introduction doesn't help us. It's not related to any security vulnerabilities. And at the same time, the description, are you ready to start your journey? Doesn't help us, because again, it doesn't relate to any security vulnerabilities. But Max has built this challenge to get people to understand how Netcat works. Netcat is a beautiful debugging tool originally for networks to see if you're able to connect to certain ports on an IP or a domain. So let's run it, but we do not copy stuff, because copying is bad. If you copy stuff and someone hides code in it, you're in for a lot of hurt. What? That's too much effort. Dev.com. Yes, I am. All this challenge is telling us is connect to this domain or subdomain at port 31,111, and it does its own magic after that. Netcat also is used for backdoors, so it's a very fun tool. From here, we just hit enter. It does not like me. I typed something wrong. Oh, .dev. Max, you're supposed to help me with this. Oh. No. Like that. Cool. It says, what is your hacker name? I think
CSECcon?
CSECcon is kawaii. And then it's Max put in the Hackers Manifesto. Yes, that's the one. He dumped that. It printed out slowly, but at least it gives you some understanding for how Netcat actually works. It becomes a bit more useful later if you've never played pwn or reversing challenges. This is one of the main ways that we connect to the challenges. You can run the code locally, but you're not going to be able to get the flag unless you run it through one of our subdomains or something we own. If you guys would like to read this, the challenges are up on our GitHub. Save your time by just downloading the file. Max.
I quit out of it either.
Yeah, if you quit out, you have to run this thing again, and it's terrible. How did this pass QA?
How do we get some order?
Okay. So.
Oh, you pressed enter a long time.
So it says, so are you a hacker? I tested this challenge like an hour ago. If you press anything other than yes, it gets mad, and it has to be lowercase. So once we press yes, I'm not sure if you guys can see, but we get given the flag. Welcome to the DownUnderCTF handsome hacker, and a flag. So awesome. First bonus point. What you can, Max. I'm joining your chances of that. So what we can do from here is we can just, Max are hard to use. Hey, okay. And then we just drop it into this flag section. Once you press submit, it takes it, and if it's correct, you get given the points. I think some CTFs actually has a limit on how many times you can submit the challenge before they just block you out entirely. I don't think we do that.
No.
Okay, perfect. I shall do
We have anyone wants to pick?
forensics, OSINT, or web.
Just shout out.
I heard OSINT, okay. Okay, OSINT, get over it. Okay, let's go over the lovely way the CTF structured. So get over it. I think OSINT's very artistic with the way they name stuff. It's open to interpretation, and they can call it whatever they want. But the description helps us a bit more. So Bridget loves bridges. This is her favorite one. And it says, what is the name of it, the length of its main span to nearest meters, and the flag format is this. Normally in OSINT challenges, you don't get given a flag. You have to find it. And we've learned that we get a lot of death threats. So for OSINT, we put in multiple flags that can fit into the thing just to make sure that information's on different websites matches what it's supposed to. We get given a file. Normally there's a hash next to it to make sure that you're not downloading malware, but we were in a bit of a rush. So let's download this. And when we open it, oh crap. I'll drag it over to here. We get this bridge. Does anybody know where this bridge is? We're underwater. Originally, the way the challenge is supposed to be structured is you would try to throw it into Google Images. So Google has a feature called Google Lens. It matches a whole bunch of different images to get what it's supposed to. And it was fuzzed enough so that during our 48 hours of our CTF, it couldn't be picked up. Unfortunately, Google Lens can pick this up now. I'll give you guys an example. Oops. Cool. So if we head over to Google Images. Oh, crap. All you need to do is technically just drag and drop. So you drag the file, and then through here you drop the thing, and then what it does is it analyzes it. This takes a couple seconds normally, but it tells us that it is the Eleanor Noel bridge, and that is the answer. I think before, Max doesn't like my solution to it, but you're supposed to look at the flowers down here and then realize that it's a Australian flower, and then what you do after that is you search up Australian, it's a cable bridge, and then you go to my favorite website, Wikipedia. Anyone living in Sydney knows that it's not Anzac. Me and Max discovered there's something called the Batman Bridge, and there is our lovely Eleanor Schnoll bridge right here. It matches. The reason why I say this, again, Max doesn't like why I say it. The bridge got curves. So if you look at this part, it curves. And if you match it with this one, it curves right there. So that's how we got a match. From there, all we needed to do, I think, according to the challenge, is we had to search for the span. So that's just a quick Google search. Oops. Bridge span length, and we know that it's 185. I think some sources were giving 183, and some other sources were giving 184. From here, we just need to drop the flag in, which would be, I can't spell, we both know that. I think it's a capital E. Oh, it's case insensitive, nice. With a dash and then underscore is 185. Wait, what? Oh, you told me about this, Max. Hey, okay, 2 for 2. So this is why OSINT is very beginner friendly, and I suggest that you try more of Yo-Yo Bros OSINT challenges. Forensics or web? Oh, no. Okay, let's try web. So, web's a weird category. It says Cowboy World. Normally with webs, you're looking for OWASP top 10 or any vulnerabilities, past or present, that's related to web. I think this year the main one that Google and a whole bunch of other CTFs did was Log4j. This one says Cowboy World, and unfortunately there's no vulnerabilities associated with the Cowboy World. But the description says, I heard this is a cooler site for cowboys. Can you find a way in? So again, the theme for cowboy pops up, which is most likely what we're going to be seeing. But the can you find a way in refers to normally some authentication flaw. So quick word, authentication is different than authorization. So authentication tells us who you are, and authorization tells us what you can do. Those two gets mixed around, and I think interviewers love to ask that question. It gives us a place to connect. If we click on it, we get taken to Demo Cowboy World. It's a lovely front page that has a username, password, login. For any beginner challenges for a CTF, the first thing you want to do for a web application is see if you can view the source page. Max was not nice in this one and did not leave a source page. But it does have the background, and we see what we see. But a fun part of that is other things you normally check for in a beginner web challenge is the robots.txt. This is a page that tells the crawlers or the bot crawlers to not list these pages on the search engines if it's disallowed. But the counterproductive part about that is it lists it in robots.txt, so it makes my life a lot easier. So if we head over to robots.txt, we can see that user agent sad cowboy is not allowed to list sad.ml. For those who don't know, the .eml extension is for mail. And let's browse to that. If we browse, to that, we get a file downloaded. Let me open up on my side. You don't need an email message. You should be able to use a text editor that I've learned recently. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah. Oh, I do. You're right, Max. Max knows my computer better than I do. So this is what it says. It basically has some emailing stuff, the subject, the message ID, who it's sent to, who it's sent from, and whatever the body is. It says, everyone says, yeehaw, but no one says, hi. That's why a sad cowboy is only allowed to enter our websites. One thing I actually forgot to go over for this challenge is another thing you want to try before doing something like that is, if it's authentication bypass, it's also bad passwords. The amount of company that use admin on their servers is amazing. Oh no! So it says incorrect username or password. Normally pay attention to those on the login screens because they act as something quite fun. But if we change it, I think the username, it says something that's like a sad cowboy. That's normally a hint to something. If we try, is it sad cowboy? If we try sad cowboy with admin, okay, not again. It says incorrect password. So this tells us that the username is correct, but the password is incorrect. From here, there's a few left. So either I can brute force a password, which I don't think I can, or the other way around it is SQL injections. So I put everything through Burp Suite so far. Burp Suite, like Max said, is the industry standard for a proxy that allows you to view all the web traffics and a bunch of other things. We can see that each time we send it through, it becomes username, sad cowboy, admin. What happens if we try like a single quote? We get a server error. Server error doesn't always mean SQL injection, but it has a chance that there's an SQL injection. Max was smart enough to hide all the error messages. But what we can do here is play around with it. So the query in the backend is raw, and it's not sanitized correctly, which allows you to escape the thing, and then you can force certain conditions. So if we throw in something like a random, actually I should do it through here. The repeat has the flag. Here we go. Okay, so the request looks something like that. If I send the admin, it should return something with incorrect password. If I put in a single quote, it escapes the first quote that I'm in, and then I can force a condition going all 1 equals to 1. So evaluate the statement, which is like select all from users where username is whatever username we specified. In this case, sad cowboy or admin equals to that. But then it says all 1 equals to 1, and 1 equals to 1 evaluates to true always, which means technically the statement is correct and we bypass everything. But there's another quote. If we send this through, it's going to cause an error. So we can just comment out the rest of it. And if we send this through, I hope we get the flag. Hey, okay, we got the flag. There's a render page. I don't know why Burp's render is really bad. But you can just copy this. I'm not saying yeehaw again. And we can drop it into here. And I hope that's correct flag. Awesome. So, thank you. Now we've got retro. So retro is a forensics challenge. Forensics normally gives a small hint to what it's supposed to be, but not always. Retro doesn't relate to any forensics term that I'm currently aware of. But it says our original logo was created in Paint. I wonder what secret it hides. So secrets for something like this, for an image, it could be strings. That's a string that was echoed straight into the end of the file or somewhere on the file. We discovered that we got an unintended solution. It could be in the EXIF data, which is the metadata containing author information, the camera that you shot from, or even GPS locations, and even steganography, which is just hiding something into something else. But cryptography has made us a lot safer. So let's download this. And let me open this. So this is the flag that actually Max created. Here we go. So this flag right here was supposed to be the original DownUnderCTF flag. Logo. From what we can see, it doesn't do much, but I'll show you guys the unintended solution. The unintended solution was to strings, and then you just run, strings, is it OG? Yeah. .jpeg, and then so strings just matches all human readable strings and drops it out of a file. That way, it's better for you to see what's hidden in there. And then grep is basically just the match function. And then we grep for DownUnderCTF. And then we get the flag DownUnderCTF SEC paint skills. The other way of doing this is using the EXIF tool within the terminal, which I think was the intended solution. And if you run that, it will tell you that it'll tell you a whole bunch of information about where it came from. But the flag is located right here within the author. And if we Macs are hard to use. If we drop that right there, we get the demagogues are on our side today. Anyways, I finished. I'll pass it back to Max.
Yeah. Thanks, Francis, for that. Yeah, demagogues are great, which is awesome. So, just before we finish, I wanted to go through some great beginner resources that I've kind of selected out and talked to a few people about. These are CTFs, war games, hacking platforms, great YouTube channels, or very useful GitHub repos. If you want, you can go to DUCTF/resources. I put it up there. Or you can quickly scan the QR code. Wait a few seconds if someone wants to scan it. Awesome. Yeah, it's not a Rickroll, I promise. Just want to say thanks to CSECcon for hosting this amazing conference and for selecting our talk, and then we could have the privilege of talking today. Thank you to the DownUnderCTF team for hosting the challenges for us and assisting us with this talk. And thanks to CTFs, because we wouldn't be here without them. Okay, what are you waiting for? DownUnderCTF is happening right now. You can go play. But very much so, listen to the other talks as well. Okay, thanks so much.